We're all Mad Hatters here. We're gonna have a fun tea party. Today's video was a mistake that I did when I first started out as an indie author that cost me hundreds of dollars. I don't want you to make that same mistake. So I'm gonna tell you what that mistake is as we're getting ready, and then I'm gonna tell you if I've taken my lesson and I've learned it and I've swallowed my own medicine, what would I do now? Because it's a mistake that we all probably make at some point, because we have to start reaching out to book bloggers and you have to find a workaround. I found a workaround and hopefully it helps you guys. Full disclosure, I'm having like a little breakout of like red blotchiness, which if you've watched my other videos, you know that's completely normal. So we're very tired today. We're very red and blotchy, but there's hundreds of thousands of other people who experience the same thing. And I just want you guys to see and get to know the real me. I wanted to give some advice while I break my curl cast with this wonderful Ouai St. Bart's oil. I'm just obsessed with this scent. I did some things when I was starting out as an indie author that, looking back, it cost me hundreds of dollars that I just literally threw away. Even if just one person watches this video and you're an indie author and I can save you the mistakes that I did and I can keep those pennies in your wallet, I really hope I can. Let me just pause because I'm seeing myself and how tired I look. And one thing that always wakes me up, and I know it's cuckoo cuckoo, is putting on some lipstick. I don't know why, but it's just like an automatic like cup of coffee without the caffeine jitter. This lipstick I mentioned in my other videos, it is Lucia by Makeup by Mario. It's their suede color. It is absolutely stunning and it's phenomenal and I love it. I paired it with this Huda Beauty muted pink lip liner. It makes a fantastic combo, and the Ilia Balmy Gloss. I don't know if it has a shade. Oh, Linger. That sounds like a good lip gloss to put into a romance book. Okay, so as I do this, get ready with me. And for those of you wondering, I'm using Makeup by Mario concealer in 190. When you are starting out as an author, you start watching YouTube, you start watching all these other videos, you're like a sponge and you're trying to soak in as much advice as you can. But the problem with sponges is they soak in everything. And some advice is not good advice. This advice that I'm gonna tell you that was a total failure for me might be successful for you. I'm telling you what didn't work for me. Maybe it was because it was my type of genre that I was writing. But for my genre, which is romance, coming of age romance, dark romance, romantic suspense, this cost me hundreds of dollars. So basically, I came across this author's video and she was saying what helped her when she started. She strongly suggested to send 100 messages or emails a day, which seems daunting. Reaching out to she suggested reaching out and telling them, hi, I'm a new author. This is my book, blah, 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 blah. Now, my problem with that was just reaching out randomly just felt a little inauthentic. Like, I don't want to be like a street peddler selling snake oil and be like, hey, I'm a new author and this is why you should read my book. And I don't even know who you are, nor have I been following. So I took the time to really start combing through my social media, specifically Instagram. I'm putting on extra concealer. A tip is if you really need it to cover thicker, just let it sit and dry for a little bit and then smudge it out. But you have to be careful because sometimes you get like French crepey. And crepes are good to eat, but they're not good to see on your face. I know this is bougie and I'm sorry. I am sorry. And I'm sure there's other drugstore alternatives out there. This is the Dior foundation stick. I love the ease of it, and everyone was saying, hey, if you have dry skin, this is the first foundation stick that is actually good for it. And they were right. It is actually really good for dry skin. But I'm not in any way telling you to go spend this. I actually bought this one during the Sephora sale, so I did save a bit. I started combing through and really looking on Instagram and seeing like what book bloggers, oh Lord, that's gonna be a big problem today to see that, to say those words together. What book bloggers did I like? Did I like the aesthetic of their page? Did I like the books they were reading? Did I like their voice and their narrative? Because yes, everyone is is gonna get a bad review. That's not the problem. The problem is I don't want to support pages that get their rise in followers by tearing people down. And I don't mean I only support pages that good reviews, because that's not authentic. I didn't target book bloggers who were mean and nasty, and there are some out there. I mean, there's mean and nasty people in everything. I really took my time in trying to find book bloggers that I genuinely liked, that me as a reader, I would follow them regardless of me being an author. And since I took my time to really find people that I liked, I did not get anywhere near 100 book bloggers a day. It took me slower. Like some days I would find 10, some days I would find 20, but regardless of how many I found, I did send out a little message and I was like, hey, I'm an indie author, but I really like the books and the content you share. I have a book that I'm coming out with that I think might fit your page and your genre. If so, would I be able to send you a book? Of course, there's no obligation to read it or to review it or anything. It's like in the background, you just want to try to get your book in their hands. On a side note, I just got this at the drugstore. It's not new. It's the L'Oreal Infallible 24-hour wear bronzer. This is as good as like a Dior bronzer. It's really fantastic. I can also recommend the illuminator, but I wouldn't recommend the blush unless you are like surgically delicate with your hand, because it is so pigmented. If you are side working as a clown, it would be wonderful, because one little dip of the bristle and you're already there. You don't have to put any more on for the show. I got a bronzer that's not too different than my tone, because I like more of like a natural look. So I reached out to these book bloggers, and I'm gonna be honest with you, and this is the problem I have when people message me as an author. When you are not like friends with someone, you haven't messaged them in the past on Instagram, your emails don't go into primary box. They go into that secondary box, and you don't usually get alerts for it. At least I don't. I have to physically remember, go and check that box. As an author now, I've been so guilty. I mean, it's really hard by the time you're doing everything yourself as an indie author, and then you go on to start the social media, but you also want to enjoy like scrolling on social media yourself. Checking that inbox, it's always last, and sometimes I see people sent me messages from like months ago and I never saw it. So if you're sending authors messages yourself as a reader or something, don't be offended or upset if these people never reply back to you. They're not obligated to reply, so keep that in mind. But a few people did see it, and I'm gonna say, out of all the messages I sent, maybe like, oh gosh, to be honest with you, I'm gonna say 1%. Maybe I could be generous and say 2%. In total, I got around 20 replies back. Not getting as many replies back as you sent out, that was like a balloon. You're a helium balloon and you're in the corner and the party's been going on, and like you're slowly starting to deflate because you've been stuck in the corner and no one's playing with you. For those people who did reply to me, I can't tell you how ecstatic I was. So then what did I do next? I went how the video suggested. It's so important for viewers in that to see the physical book, to hold it in their hand. Giving your book baby to someone is very scary, and it might seem as scary as this Patrick Ta blush. This is in the shade She's Wanted, and I'm gonna use this in two ways. First as a blush, but also as an eyeshadow. So don't be intimidated or scared to try really bold colors, but also to send your books out. I wanted to go like an extra step, and I didn't just want to send my book out, because I've seen book bloggers always post these beautiful unboxing videos of these branded boxes and a bunch of trinkets and things inside. So I wanted to do that to the extent that I possibly could. At that point, I could not afford to start sending and ordering boxes that had my name and books images printed on it, but I could send a normal box, and I feel like that's fine too, because in the end, we all throw boxes away. I mean, I love beautiful wrappings in boxes and stuff, but I'm not going to judge the book by its cover if it doesn't come in a box, but I know a lot of people will. But anyways, don't feel bad if you can't do that. But what I did do was, and oh, what book was it? I think I sent them out for Ashes to Ashes and my Paint My Lies series. And I know for Paint My Lies, that is like a romantic suspense. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. I just looked in the mirror and that looks very suspenseful. Trust in the process of blending out. And like I said, like this can look scary, and I don't want to be one of those blush blind people on social media. So I'm gonna blend this out. So with my books, I wanted it to relate to the book. So for Paint My Lies, it's like this genetic dystopian future, and romantic suspense where there's a maze of games. So I included like this little maze game ball. I think at one point I put in a little canvas with little arts and paints because the girl was an artist in it. I just wanted things that really related to the book, and as they hopefully read the book, they would be like, oh my gosh, this is what this little trinket related to. I know this is gonna look scary next. I'm going in with quite a compact bristle brush, and I like to do this just to kind of make, I know it looks scary, but trust me, just make your line. And remember, if you have like where you're starting to have like a little bit of a hood, just try to relax your eye as much as you can, because if I pull it open like that and put it on, you know, when your lid relaxes, you're not gonna see it. So I know this looks cuckoo-cuckoo, but you know, we're all Mad Hatters here. We're gonna have a fun tea party. As you can imagine, sending out all of these boxes, all of the books, all of the trinkets. And then when I went to ship it, I wasn't just gonna throw it with USPS. I really wanted it to have a tracking number. I wanted to be ensured that all my hard work and effort got to that person. So by the time you go to FedEx or UPS, each box to ship was as expensive probably as this Dior foundation. So over the weeks, I just let things sit. I did not contact them. I didn't reach out or anything, probably for about a good 2 or 3 weeks, because I know that all of my amazing book bloggers, they get probably dozens of books a week in the mail. And by no way do you want anyone to feel like pressured, because that pressure is gonna come off when they're reading their book. But it got to a point where I had only one book blogger post a video on social media. And she was like, it was going through her book mail, and she was like, oh, I got this book mail from so-and-so today. I was so happy that I got one person to post a video, but out of hundreds that I spent to make the boxes and to ship it, having one video was not worth the effort. And furthermore, it wasn't a review video, it was just an unboxing video. And I never got a review video or anything again. I had no way of knowing if it was ever read, nothing. I was like shot out of space, floating alone, and all these other book bloggers that I shipped things to were on the planet, and no one was making contact to me. Oh Lord, I was joking to you guys about putting on clown makeup. It's looking a lot more vibrant in my viewfinder than it's looking in my mirror, so I don't know who to believe. But anyways, having spent so much money, so much time, so much effort, and not getting anyone to reply back. At one point, I did reach out to one book blogger because I was like, did they even get the package? Are they gonna think, hey, this person's reached out to me. I'd given them my home address to ship a box to, and I never got anything, because that's very creepy. So I did reach out. I got no reply back. So I felt a little used. My confidence took a huge blow. It was such an enormous waste of time and money that I definitely would not ever recommend. But I've been thinking about it, and I would say, how would I change this? Because obviously we have to do something when we're first starting off to get our books into these book bloggers' hands, into readers' hands. We have to do something to get ourselves known out there on social media. So what should you do? This is what I would do. First, I would try to rebalance the eyes, because the berry is very heavy. I'm gonna try to balance it with this neutral color. This, you're gonna think this is bad. This is another bougie palette, but I like to buy that sometimes, and there's no shame in that. You guys can get this same neutral color at a drugstore, so don't feel pressured by any means. You guys might not like this answer, but remember that you have to play the long game, and the long game is like that story of the turtle and the hare. You have to do things slowly. Don't reach out to anyone yet. Just make your social media account. Slowly start to build up your following. And that might take a year to do. I mean, I have some people and they're like, oh, you should be able to get Instagram followers, you know, couple thousand followers in a year. I haven't had that reaction. I think I'm a little over 2,000. It's taking time, because I don't just want filler users. I want people that are actually reading my book, that are invested in the series, and that takes time. Just focus on your social media account, your branding, your books, and your content. And you don't have to have these perfectly curated pages that have beautiful aesthetic. I feel like the pages I'm attracted to are ones that, you know, aren't necessarily all the perfect color and pattern. It's like a real person, and sometimes they post pictures of their cup of coffee for a day, and sometimes they post a book that they're reading. So find your readers and find your audience, and then once you do, you can start to cherry pick through them. I don't know if cherry pick sounds cruel. I don't mean it like that, but basically you're gonna have readers eventually that get invested in you and your books. And this is the highlight of the day, so it's a perfect timing for the highlight. Once you get these readers, you reach out to them and you say, hey, I really appreciate you following my page and supporting my books. Would you be interested in, say, being on your art team or getting a book in the mail? And stress that there's no obligation to review the book or post about it or anything, because there never should be. And you know, sometimes like I have people on my art team that I give books to and they never review the book. And maybe that's because one, life got in the way. I totally understand that. It happened to me last night when I was up the whole night. Two, maybe they didn't like your book and maybe they don't want to be the type of person that leaves a negative review. That's fine. Three, maybe they're the type of person that just takes a book and runs and they used you. It's something you're going to encounter as you're building your art team. But once you have a dedicated following, it could be a dedicated following of 10 people. But if that's 10 people who read your book and liked it, they're most likely gonna want to get a book in the mail from you that's maybe a signed copy or, you know, has a box with other trinkets. So just play the long game. I never reached out to book bloggers that had huge followings. I targeted people that had usually around 1,000 followers. Some probably had a little bit less and some had more, like 20,000. So try to wait till you get your followers. And then once you get followers and people who have read your book, and I know it could take a long time, and I wish I could give you advice on how to not do it, but I feel like if you see these ads and videos, take this marketing course and your book is gonna be like an overnight sensation, red flag. Just wait and be patient. You're going to get people that read the book and like it. And then once you get those people, you won't only have to reach out to them. I've had readers reach out to me and message me, and the majority of those messages went somewhere far in that box, and I just happened to remember to check it. And when I did, we slowly started a conversation and the book relationship grew from there. I hope that by sharing my failures with you, it helps you be more successful and also not waste money and not take those little dents to your armor and your confidence. But remember, any dent you get in your confidence can always be buffed out, and you will get there. You will get to a point where you're having book sales and success and readers contact you. You definitely will. And if that little devil on your shoulder is whispering to you that you won't, flick her off. If you have any questions or comments, you can post them below, and please follow me on my social media and my newsletter. Anyone subscribed to my newsletter is automatically entered into the giveaways I do, which I've posted in the past. A lot of times I do hand illustrated edges and doodles within the book, and I give them for my giveaway. So yes, that's my little marketing spiel at the end.